Welcome to Talk Tennis. Today we are in house with Oak, Manish, and Troy.
It's been a while, dude.
It's been a minute.
Been a while since all
I'm
of
sorry.
us. Yeah.
We've all been busy. We gotta do it more often. That's my bad. Today we are debating one-handed versus two-handed backhands.
Yeah, I like that we all have like notes prepared and like arguments ready.
I think Oak dreamed this one up, this concept. I feel like. Were you the one versus two-handed thought processor?
I think perhaps, maybe. But I feel like this is a great group to talk about this with because Troy and I hit both frequently.
Yeah.
And then I would say that you guys tend to specialize a little bit more in one. So
okay.
We've got the expert opinions on both sides.
Before we get started, an apology is due. We went to the court yesterday to play some games, one hand versus two hand, and we can go into depth. However, there was a discretionary call. I have checked the footage. I have sent the footage.
It was a two-hand?
To the podcast producer. It was a two-hand. So I apologize, Manish. Oh, he's more mad at me now.
Well, at least he's talking.
Wait, no. We just need the VAR, the live video assistant.
We will plug in the footage if you would like to. We can review it right now if you would like. Oops, that's Roland Garros radio. But here we go. For our listeners, we will give this footage in the. We'll put this footage in the video, but we were playing dingles, and the first game of dingles, the rule was everyone had to hit one-handed backhands. As a two-handed backhand hitter, and the oldest person in this room, I'm gonna say this might have been challenging for me. Anyways, there was a call that was questioned. Go ahead, too. Me? Yeah. I didn't do two-handed. The law. No, you. And you know what? I will fully admit I was wrong. I don't remember.
But how did you even throw up a two-handed lob?
I don't. Oh, I
don't even know. I don't even know how to do that.
So I watched it. I think the ball came into my body and I couldn't get my left hand out of the way.
But Michelle also hits.
It was that point. There it is. Replay.
Michelle also hits one-handed, left-handed volleys. So I don't know.
So here for you guys to see. And then I believed full-heartedly that I did not hit two hands. And it became...
I think I already missed it.
Anyways.
You win that point at least?
No, we won that point, and we swept, and then the rest is history. So, I just am going to start with an apology. I want to clear the air. I was completely wrong. I hit two hands on my lob. Should have been your point.
But right at the end, did you let go of the second hand?
I don't know. I can't be trusted.
We have to go back and look closer because
the
other day, Carlos went for a volley and he threw the racket and it was like maybe an inch or two out of his hand. And he won the point technically by the look of it. But then he gave the point away to Big Ben. It was crazy because the racket was literally like inches out of his hand. He threw it, and it hit a drop volley.
I've done that before.
I mean, Carlos can do anything, I guess.
Right, yeah. I mean, I haven't done that before, but I used to talking about how I used to throw a racket.
By the umpire, unless, do we know if Carlos had not given up that point, he would have just won it?
Well, correct. I don't know if they confirmed it, but I think they knew something was close, right?
They knew it was close, but the French doesn't have a video challenge.
Yeah,
so
because they got full umpires.
Correct, yeah. So they couldn't have gone and reviewed that footage. Yeah. So it was very good sportsmanship on the half of Carlos.
Going back to topic, that's a very good argument for him being if he was a one-hander.
Okay, so back on task. Let's go each. What did you grow up? What did you grow up? What did you grow up? When you grew up or when you started learning tennis, how did you learn your backhand? And what is your current backhand method? Give us a little backhand history of each person. Oak, you can begin.
Backstory?
Backhand? Okay.
Growing up, I didn't hit a backhand.
Oh.
I just would not. I was allergic to backhands. I ran around everything and hit forehands.
You were watching Sock. And
a
little bit of Stevie.
Yeah, dude. Forehands only.
Pretty much. But I had a two-hander, and it was not a shot I had any confidence in whatsoever. And then when I got back into tennis, started hitting my two-hand a little bit more, and then during the pandemic, I actually learned the one-hander because of Dominic Thiem.
I thought you were going to say because of Troy.
No. I saw Dominic Thiem just ripping that 1E, and I was like, all right, that looks like a lot of fun. Oh my gosh, yeah, he got so much top and power on the ball. And I built a little tennis wall in my backyard because everybody was at home and I was just so bored. And I just watched like a ton of like team highlights and just would go into my backyard and just hit the one-hander over and over and over. So
you have a video of you doing that, don't you?
I do have video of that.
Okay, we've got lots of clips for this episode.
Much younger.
Early day.
I got the Manish hair going on at that point.
Yeah. That's sick.
But then now I use both. And, I typically on first serves return with one hand, and then
That's wild to me.
I thought you'd want more stability, so you'd
and compact.
I don't know. Just
that's
for
what
whatever.
I would think too. But I actually, I went to watch Oak in his recent tournament. I supported him, and and I was noticing like there were some high serves to your backhand where I'd be like, okay, that would be a two-hander, and you were like getting them back pretty hard. I'm like,
with two or one?
With one.
Yeah,
I was surprised. I was like, okay.
For me,
Keep doing it. Keep doing your thing, man.
The opposite, like I actually have an easier time with the one-hander up high.
Interesting.
Versus like the two-hander up high is really
you
hard
should
for
coach
me to get
Roger Federer.
Right, me.
I don't think anybody should coach Roger.
Early year Rogers would have loved you. When he met first Rafa, he would have loved you.
But yeah, if I'm looking to end the point, two-hander all day.
Okay, Manish, what about you? How'd you?
I grew up two-hand. And I played two-hand.
What?
I've played two-handed longer than I played one-handed.
Well, like, I won't cut you off, but most like junior academies or programs you go to, they will start the player off with a two-hander.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get the stability, and it usually is a easier one to learn right away. As far as like you can block it. But anyways, go ahead.
And that is why I was taught. Like my coach was a one-hander, but he taught me two. He's like, "Oh, this is gonna be easy for you. This might be your most powerful shot." And for the longest time, my backhand two-hand was better than my forehand.
Okay.
And then I was like, "Nah, this just didn't feel very natural to me, though. I want to play with a one-hander." And nobody believed me at the time that it didn't feel natural to me because like, he just wants to be like Fed.
Well,
and
facts.
I see it, and I see the argument. Again, we talked about this yesterday. It sounds like something I would do, but it wasn't the case. I genuinely didn't feel natural.
That's so cool.
But yeah, and so I started practicing, and it just clicked. Like it wasn't like a hard transition or like.
You never look back.
I never looked back.
As what I saw yesterday, he hates his two-handed backhand.
I do, but then we have some stats that say that. If we look at the stats and all, I would be
Very
better
interesting.
off. Yeah.
We're going to get into those stats.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I think it would be.
Consistency-wise and all that.
I think if you went back full time to two-hand and did it for like a year, you'd be fine and you'd be able to like get more power.
That's coming too. Troy, what about you?
Started two hands, just because that's pretty much all I really knew at the time. Like kind of watching most players. Even though I really liked, like one of my favorite first players was James Blake. But yeah, I just started with two hands. I think also too, like the first actual coach I had was the one at the junior college I went to. And he was a really good player, played Division I, UCSB. And his two-hander, even to this day, he could just like pop out of bed and it's a thing of beauty. It's like kind of like when I talk about yours, like how you get that like extra topspin from the non-dominant, like when you're rolling an angle, like he can hit these angles. And so watching his two-hander like with spin and like variety, it was more like I wanted to, it was a challenge for me. Like one-handed felt more natural. Like it just felt natural from the get-go, but I wanted to have the cool two-hander. Like like, Agassi, Djokovic, there's kind of like, I know one-handed is talked about being stylistic, but there's, when you see like a really good looking two-hander, it was a challenge for me to learn. So then.
Like the Agassi backhand is just beautiful.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Okay, no, I'm just kidding.
What about you, Michelle?
Yeah, well, clearly, since I don't really hit one-handed backhands. Two hands my whole life, but I was telling Manish this yesterday. My junior year of college, I tore a ligament in my right wrist. And I was having like the best preseason. Our falls are preseason. I had like the best results, regionally ranked, all that. and instantly went from having the best time on the court, playing really well, to now I can't use my right hand. And when they explained to me the surgery, they said it was going to be like tying together angel hair pasta. And so and this is a few years ago, not recently. So I was really hesitant to have surgery, knowing that it could have ended my college career. So took a lot of time off. Not a lot. I mean, honestly, 2 months, but did tons of like rehab. My wrist was at practice. I was in the ice bath, out of the ice bath, in the ice bath. Anyways, did a lot of cold laser therapy, all kinds of stuff. Spent Christmas rehabbing. And when I came back in the spring, I was explaining this to Manish. I started becoming more left-hand dominant on my backhand. And to this day, it's still like very relevant. And even so, like when I first started hitting again, my grip on my forehand was continental. So I wouldn't have that strain on my wrist. So I like hit a Granville forehand in practices. And then I basically kind of like left-handed forehand on my backhand side.
Yeah. Was your injury from tennis, the ligament tear? Oh, okay.
No, because she was training for UFC.
Yeah.
But the whole left hand, right hand, non-dominant on the backhand is like a kind of a topic we could talk about another time.
Could be another episode.
But like we could get, because Karu is a big, he has a whole video on talking about
the
how
left hand.
He thinks his dominant hand really is the big majority of his backhand. It's like a one-handed backhand. The non-dominant just kind of like
so interesting.
follows through. Whereas a lot of people, all they talk about is the non-dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can barely have my right hand on my backhand, and I think the left hand does all the work. So. And I will say, I do as I've gotten older and slower, the slice on the one-handed slice comes out when I can't reach or I don't feel like I can get under the ball.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about slice yet. That's
I know.
like
Right.
87% of my game.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy has improved my slice game so much. When I first started, it was so bad.
It's like you all the time.
Just from watching him or what? Or
No, he's literally like taught me how to properly hit it. It was so bad.
Well, you get frustrated too if I'm hitting 1,000 really low ones. You know, eventually you got to learn how to defend it.
Yeah, because I don't want to bend down and hit topspin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, maybe we can get into the nitty gritty. Oak's in charge of our stats.
Yeah. So, thanks to our on-court monitoring system, Zenith, all the way from Finland. Shout out Santu.
And the crew.
Yeah. But basically what we did is we did a hand feeding drill where all of us hit 25 shots with a two-hander and then 25 shots with a one-hander. So I do want to start by saying this is a relatively small sample size. So I don't want to like take these numbers as like the end-all be-all for stats. But I do think that the data trends are very useful, less so for comparing us to each other, more so comparing us to ourselves.
Absolutely,
what does the difference in shot look like with the one-hander versus the two-hander? So hopefully we can get the stats up on the screen here.
Yeah.
And
we also have hitting footage.
Yeah, somewhere.
that we're hoping we can plug in so you can see how ugly my one-hander is.
I think
need Troy. I need Coach Troy to help me.
Well, I think I would want to start with maybe some of the extremes here.
Yeah.
I think what I was actually the most surprised by, and the more I think about it, the less surprised I am. But when I first saw this number, I was just like, what? Troy's two-handed backhand by far cleared the rest of us.
That's
for spin.
For RPM.
Which is
that's about
literally
it.
what you were just talking about emulating when you learned your two-handed backhand.
Yeah, Coach Jeff.
Yeah. But that means you're hitting a heavy ball. That's harder for me to deal with. That's harder for a lot of players to deal with.
I mean, have you been on the other side of it?
Yeah. I mean, Troy can put me in the corner like no one else, I feel like. So, or the wall. But
or the back fence.
Yeah, I mean, so like
No, I mean like the pushback.
Absolutely.
That's what I have to deal with most of the time. Not the
especially
not the
with
wall,
the lefty
it's
side.
the back that he gets me with. Yeah.
So Michelle hit the flattest two-hander. Big surprise. The flattest and the fastest. Her RPMs are around 950 on average. Then my two-hander was at 1090. Manisha's two-hander up at 1270, which I thought was interesting. And then Troy's all the way up at 1830 on average.
Dang.
So he's just getting lots of rotations on that, good net clearance. And then, you two were pretty close in terms of your net clearance and depth. Both around 26 feet for depth and then around 2.5 feet for net clearance.
Yeah. I noticed on mine, both of my shots, 1 and 2, I wasn't getting I was getting some of the least amount of depth, but I think it's because I was just like keeping my head down and just hitting. Whereas like if I'm hitting against you guys in dingles or a rally, like I have a target and I'm trying to go towards your feet.
Right.
So when
right.
I'm given a target, there wasn't a target set up. I would
Yeah.
just kind of like, rah, 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 you know.
We'll
Yeah.
evolve.
And
We'll
the
evolve
more
this.
spin, usually the less depth, unless you aim higher.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but yeah, when I'm playing a rally, like my depth target is usually try to get it as far back. To keep them. Yeah.
That checks.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting because, for the most part, I guess actually not. But for Manish and I, we both had more RPMs on our one-hander, and then your one-hander was so flat. But it's also interesting because it had.
I think it's size of side spin.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
was gonna say. First,
Well, I thought it was like
first
a
of all,
pitcher.
let me defend you. Let me defend me. Let me defend.
Can I just I just watched the Agassi Roddick
Oh,
recent
too good.
unserved, and Agassi uses the term knuckled. They knuckle the ball.
Yeah.
Like I forget who he was talking about, but
So like
you were knuckling some.
But I do that sometimes with my shots. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if you guys ever see it. I'm sure you feel it or see it. But like even on my forehand, like the spin is not really And so I was trying to put it into words, but because I don't get the wrist and I don't get the tip coming around, I just kind of like slap at it. I think, and then
There's not much of.
there's no. Yeah. Yeah.
But your
It's pretty
net
comical.
clearance was like a foot higher on your one-hander, which I thought was really interesting. So it kind of reminded me of like,
I was trying to drop the wrist.
but you know, like when you're like in baseball, right? Like you have different pitchers and they have different slots.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like you're pitching against like or hitting against like a taller pitcher, and so it's coming at you from a different angle. And like even if they have different pitches, like different slots in terms of where
That's
it's
an
like
interesting
releasing.
take.
And my technical perspective of her stroke, watching it, was that you were being on your backhand. I think you were just. Because you're not comfortable with it, you felt awkward even when you were like standing there. You were like, I'm
I
nervous.
was like, I don't even know
you
how
were
to get my
you
feet
were
in the right
forcefully clearing the net, whereas your forehand is so dialed you could hit 3 inches above the net like 100 times, and you'd probably make most of them.
Hopefully, yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
Which, like, and then I'll say that's why I think on the lob I hit 2 because I think the ball I jammed into me and I didn't know what to do with my left
But
hand.
you let go. I remember seeing it.
Okay. We're gonna have Steve zoom in.
Enhance.
Zoom in on the footage. Zoom. And see that I yeah. Anyways, okay, keep going.
But
Sorry.
let's see some other statistical noteworthy.
Did
things.
we have max speed for each round?
Um,
Like the
I,
highest peak speed? Probably Michelle or
yeah.
something.
I did have some of those. I think I saw like mid 70s. Somebody had like a close to 80 ball. Probably this one, but.
Probably went to that then.
One of my favorite stats was that Troy and I have the same RPMs.
Yes,
What?
I thought.
on both one-handers.
What?
Yeah, I
It's
thought that was
because
cool.
He
We
followed
ha-
his coach. You followed your
So
coach.
look at this stats.
But I will break the tie with the fact that I was using the 1820.
Oh.
Denser string pattern.
I was using the
For the
6
one-hander.
I was
Yeah.
using this.
I was using the 6-1. I switched to the 6-1 for the one.
Well, okay, so it makes sense. Your net clearance is like 1.9 minus 2.6, and then our speed, like the shot speed average, is minus 62 miles per hour. Yours is 65.
Oh.
I thought that was interesting too.
That's crazy.
That Troy had the fastest one-hander
Oh, yeah.
on average.
Well, I was just like, I was kind of going for that.
Yeah.
Rippin'.
Like I was thinking like Stan, just like
Yeah,
let it
yeah.
rip on the one-hander. Whereas a two-hand, I can kind of guide it.
So he's hitting more speed and the same RPMs, which is the highest RPMs of all four of us.
Yeah.
The ones we share. So he's hitting fastest, and you're also hitting with the most spin
On the one-hander.
on the one-hander.
Well, so then here's a question that I was thinking would be fun to answer. If you had the opportunity to retrain your backhand an unlimited amount of time to get it to where you want, are you going to go with a two-hand or one hand? He's just shaking his head. As you move forward in your tennis life.
Or if you're coaching and like building like,
I'll let you
a
guys
player.
answer.
You're saying like go back in time and start
Yeah,
over?
if
Yeah.
you, or like today, Michelle decides she only wants to hit one. I want to be like Jofi, okay? I just want to be, no, Jofi, I could never. I should have given her the shout out at the beginning of the episode. If you guys have not watched Jofi's backhand, it is a
Yeah.
thing of beauty.
Yeah.
Every time she's on a playtest, it's like, oh, that's so pretty.
It's sick, yeah.
But let's say I'm not switching, but let's say I wanted to, and I could have all the time in the world to perfect it, or whoever. Would you switch, or would you keep what you've got going?
For me, and this is something I brought up before, because there's times where I've gone in like 6 months or a year of just hitting a lot of one-handers. And I actually, one of the reasons why I picked up the one-hander was because I hurt my non-dominant hand, so I couldn't hit two-handers for a while. One time, I had some tendon stuff going on here, so I was kind of forced to hit one-handers.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's sometimes when I hit the one-hander consistently for months on end that I get the wrist. Because I'm doing everything with my left.
Yeah.
It takes a toll on my wrist.
That makes sense.
So I think for my body, say if I was going to go back and train from when I started to go play tournaments and try to be competitive, I would definitely go two-hander just because it gives me more of a balance on the body.
Yeah.
Just playing for fun and aesthetics, the one-hander's fun and it looks cool. But I think competitively and on the return for me, two-hander's better. Defensive
especially
shots.
with the modern game, right?
Yeah, I would stick with the two-hander competitively.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, fun, maybe. And that's why I mix it up so much, is that's because all I'm really doing. But
I know the logical answer is to always say...
What did Federer say?
he says
even
two.
Fed has
Federer
said
was
two,
saying,
yeah.
oh, really?
Yeah.
He says he would train
his kids would
Yeah.
be trained with two.
And for himself too, right?
If
Save
he
the
had to,
one-hander.
Yeah.
But, okay. I have to make the case of the one-hander because, the logical answer over here is with the modern game, the power and spin, you need the extra stability and, all that.
And it's so fast.
And it's so much more faster now, The versatility of a one-hander, though. We haven't seen it being used heavily nowadays, but Fed and Stan and even Musetti now, not Steph, but...
Why not Steph?
Because I don't know if he has that level of versatility in his one-hander. He has a very solid, plowy, all that.
What about Chapo?
Baby Fed.
Chapo, great example. All the Baby Fed,
Dimitrov, yeah,
Dimitrov,
yeah.
very versatile on this wing, and that has to
What's
come
his
into
name?
play.
Kovacevic.
Yeah.
Drop out of nowhere, slicing, all that. And then it's just one less step that you have to take to hit a one-hander than compared to a two-hander.
More reach.
More reach, for
and
sure.
you're also getting more reach. I feel like if done well, there's still success there. If you can do it well, I think even on the tour, even with all the pace and spin and all that, if done well, it can give you success. It can bring you success. So. That's my case for the one-hander.
But the variety thing,
Appreciate that.
I get it because it kind of forces you to think with a different part of your brain when you're
Yeah.
always using the one. But I think the modern player can be really versatile with the two-hander drive, one-handed slice, like the man himself, Andy Murray, was very crafty. He was very good at slice, very good on his volleys, but could still caress the two-hander.
Oak, I'm curious to hear your POV because I thought you were crushing the two hands yesterday.
Yeah, your two-handed backhand is probably your most technically sound shot.
Probably.
And you're just hitting it really well.
Yeah.
It's the shot that I definitely have the most confidence in right now. But if I were to go back for myself, it's tricky because I agree with a lot of what you were saying as far as you actually do have more versatility with the one-hander. I like that it gives me additional reach. I feel like it's more dynamic. I feel like I can create more of a looping ball to give myself more time to get back into the point. So if I'm really being put in a defensive corner, sometimes the one-hander is nice as a bailout option. If I were to go back, I think, honestly, if I could train the sustainability of the arm for the one-hander. I think
that's my thing.
That would be
Bionic arm.
honestly, yeah, because if I notice if I'm hitting one-handers a lot, my forearm gets pretty sore. I think that the one-hander by nature is just more physically draining, and I think at a competitive level, that is really hard. Honestly, just because you see. Absolutely, you see so many matches that are just endurance contests.
Right? I feel more physically drained to get that the one-hander, like the shoulder turn and like fending off balls like this.
Right.
Whereas two hands, I can just kind of bunt. I can kind of do these little flicky feel things and be effective with it.
That's
You know.
Yep.
true. That's true.
But if I was developing a player,
Yeah.
if it wasn't me, I would actually do kind of like what you did, like a 2-1-2 approach. Learn a basic two-hander, get to the point where you can rally, and then learn a rudimentary one-hander so you can get a sense of rolling over the ball a little bit more, and then go back to two hands. Just because I noticed
And
that
when do you teach the slice? Because that I think
Yeah.
we've all decided is like super important to have no matter what.
100%. Yeah, just to be able to counter with
The
that.
slice,
and,
man. That's like 80% of my game.
Yeah, and just to be
Troy
able to
had the
mix it
hardest
up.
time doing only two-handed.
Oh, I
backhands.
just totally didn't even. I just totally flunked. Like there was times where like the ball came to the backhand side,
was
and
like,
I just
two.
and then like I had to stop and think like, why'd you stop me? Oh, damn it.
I
didn't have to check the
vouch for the.
But talking about the mix, there's a guy that Carew just played in the Challenger, Aiden Mayo, younger player, and he returns with two most of the time, but during the rally, one hand topspin.
Interesting.
So he uses the two for the return a lot.
I did that too when I was first learning. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, that is interesting because I only go one when I can't reach the ball.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, I'm sticking with my two. I already hated my backhand. And now it's like, oh, don't. No, but as mentioned, playing only two-handed, we all kind of like got into a little bit of trouble when we would normally slice the ball, and you forget how like we were having some epic cross-court backhand
That's
rallies.
fun, yeah.
Yeah, and like Oak would pull me into the corner of the wall, and I would normally just throw my one-handed slice out,
Yep.
and I was like, shoot, I gotta get my feet there and come around it.
Are you feeling a little more one-handed lately since there's not really a two-handed backhand in paddle?
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh, yeah.
With paddle, I have.
I mean, I guess you can't. So maybe some players do hit two hands, but for me, it's all slice or
Yeah.
Because you're rotating so much, I feel like it's hard to rotate with two hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've been
you have-
really leaning into the one hand. With paddle, it's been so fun because I totally am like in that continental grip like at all times, and I'm just like ready to like cut the ball and chop people on the court.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting
You're
excited.
chopping?
And like I keep gushing about this. It's added so much creativity to my tennis game, which has been really fun.
Oh yeah.
Well, I noticed
I
all
fully
of our
agree
points
with that.
have changed. Like, I feel like we're
All of us.
using the depth of the court more,
Right?
like bringing people in. The lobs feel more effective.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm having to run more in tennis, and I'm like, great.
My smashes, I'm not cranking as much rather than placing
Placement, not power.
in tennis.
When we played Dingles last Friday.
Which is good because sometimes your crank overheads go straight to the back fence.
Well, right now
Like
I'm
watching-
bandaged up
Paddle, too.
anyway. Bandaged up anyway, so I'm not really able to crank any smashes.
Oh,
I just
maybe
have
that's
to
what
place.
happened.
Place.
It's like the
place.
slice, the bandeja.
Yeah, because I hit a lot of my overheads. I do because of paddle, but even before that, I would use spin on my overheads, like a slice or.
But your overhead's gotten nastier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's even like
More powerful.
it feels more chill now because I'm like, oh, I do this all the
You
time.
know, yeah. You don't have to put it away
Yeah.
with power.
Yeah.
It's been fun. As we wrap this episode up, I didn't even think of this one, but if you were to pick someone, it doesn't have to be a pro player. You mentioned your coach. Maybe you would still pick his backhand.
Coach Jeff.
Yeah. Whose backhand would you pick to take as your own?
Either one hander or two hander.
Yeah. It could live your life. Who's going to, okay,
Two.
Federer.
Yeah. I mean,
Let's say we can't pick big three.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
say you can't pick your favorite player.
I will pick a guy. Two hander. He's always been like my favorite. I've sent you guys videos,
Yeah.
but he took down darn near the big three in one tournament one time.
Who?
David Nalbandian.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's always in the talks of like greatest two handers of all time.
Yeah.
But it's just like so flowy.
Yeah.
It's so like natural.
Okay.
And
okay.
flowy.
Okay. Flowy. He has aura.
Yeah.
So that would be your pick for two-hander.
two. Probably that's probably right up there. Yeah, I think that's probably gonna be my
What about one-e?
one hand. Oh, functionality and power stand. But
Oh, for sure.
but like just beautification.
Beautification.
Yeah.
Beauty Rogers is like the finish and he just the from especially in me too. We've talked about this, but like 2014 to the end of his career, like if you look at his timeline, like like 2014, 2013, 2014, any practice video from there, when he switched to the 97, he just
Yeah.
became so free on the one-hander. Yeah. Like the look of it is there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing that compares. There's guys
so
that are
far.
close. You know, Tommy Haas had a nice one. Musetti's is pretty.
Dimitrov.
I mean, Gasquez is one of the freakiest ones. Like talk about topspin.
okay.
Like
Oh, yeah.
topspin, he'd probably be like, "Oh, Troy got 1,800. That ain't crap." You know, like he probably gets like 4,000.
Dimitrov gets pretty good RPMs on his.
Dimitrov, beautiful, but Rogers is just a thing. His stroke is just a thing of beauty.
Now I'm just Googling best backhands.
Power, just a power and the snap. If you go watch someone like Stan's, like hand feed,
Stands on the top.
hand feeded like videos where they're just tossing, he's just bop, 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 bop. It's just like it's like a gun going off.
His net clearance, despite whichever height he's receiving his like ball or to hit the backhand, is always the same. His net clearance is
Hitting the same
always the same.
Okay, I got
Sorry,
mine.
that was my
No.
picks. That was my
Alright,
picks.
Michelle.
Okay, I got mine. Obviously, one-handed backhand goes to the GOAT, Steffi Graf. Obviously, that was easy. This is a little more obscure. I don't know. When I think about this person, I just remember always watching him and loving his strokes.
Did he have long hair?
No, but I should do that one.
Okay.
Dominic, her body.
Her body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his strokes were really pretty. To
He had
me.
weird shirts.
really
cool
weird
backhands.
cool backhand. And back in the day, whoa.
Oh,
Oh,
Episode's
time.
done. We gotta wrap it up. Back in the day, he used to practice with Federer in Manhattan Beach. Done. Okay. Oaks,
body.
who would you pick?
For one-handers, even though my favorite to watch is Dominic Thiem's, I would also pick Stan because for me, I think his one-hander looks the most efficient. And so in terms of conserving energy, even though he's just exploding on the ball, like it just seems like it's very compact at the same time.
dude has like a 370 swing weight too.
Yeah.
360.
So
Some of
wow.
the
Crazy. And then honorable mention to Shapovalov, who
Chapo, yeah.
jumping one-hitter, come on.
Backhands,
Yeah.
wrapping.
Come on.
He's got it
I think
all.
for mine, the most simplest answer is Fed.
Done.
Yeah.
I've tried to emulate him all my life.
Yeah, yeah.
But what if we
But
said
for
no
the
big
two-hander-
three? Yeah.
Oh no,
No, I was
big
gonna say if I had to go for a two-hander, I'd go Sir Andy Murray.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
No one
That's a
picked
good-
Kyrgios.
He caresses it.
I don't want him.
I like his two-hander.
Yeah,
like
I
his
actually
two-hander.
do now.
I feel like
It's a very-
Nori-esque though. No, it's like a little bit flat, but he's able.
He has
to,
more variety.
Yeah, he's able to, but like it's still
Serena and Venus also shout out.
Yeah.
Real
I
quick,
like their backhand.
if she said the rules were non-big
of a-
three,
non-big three.
favorite one-hander,
Dimitrov.
Grigor.
Yeah.
Grigor.
But that's
Grigor.
again,
I also have
Grigor.
or Haas.
on my notes
Ooh.
Tommy. Tommy
David
boy.
Ferrer for two-hander.
You liked his two-hander?
I loved it. It was just like so short and like
He got a lot of spin.
he got a lot of spin and he was so light on his feet and like everything was
Oh
just
my
like
gosh.
aerial.
Now I'm thinking about so many players. What about Guga's backhand?
Google.
His head, he just. Oh, anyways.
yeah.
Hey, you kids out there, you can Google.
I know. It says,
These
it
guys
says a
are
lot
like-
even about our age, though, that no one said, like, Edberg or, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Two-hander wasn't really a big thing till like
Yeah.
some of the guys like Connors and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, two-hander not handy, but one-handers back in the day, I don't know. There was a lot of slice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let us know in the comments who your favorite one and two-handed players are and what you guys like and if you have
Yeah.
anything that you're working on with your backhand. And if you want to see us do a head-to-head like this, let us know what kind of things we can test. We were talking about a two-handed versus one-handed forehand maybe.
Oh yeah.
And we have a special guest we would bring in for that. Hopefully
Yeah.
we can align our schedule. That would be super fun. And that's it for this one, right?
And let us know which one Troy and I should pick. One hand or two hand.
Ooh.
Maybe
Yeah.
we'll put a poll up.
Yeah.
We'll have a vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to see that one.
Which would you pick for us?
for you two?
Yeah, like for
yours, two-hander,
And his one.
one.
Yeah, same.
That means you're gonna hurt my wrist eventually.
No, but in terms of
Nah, just
game-
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay, we're done. Happy hitting.